Eber lived 34 years and begot Peleg. After he begot Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and begot sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years and begot Reu. After he begot Reu, Peleg lived 290 years and begot sons and daughters. Genesis chapter 11, verses 16 through 19, Exegesis. The line of Eber, the covenant seed preserved. Eber, whose name means to cross over, or the one who passes beyond, is a key figure in the sacred lineage that preserves the true knowledge of Yahweh after Babel's confusion. His name gives rise to the term Hebrew, Ivri in Hebrew, describing those who cross over from idolatry and worldliness into covenant fellowship with Yahweh. While the nations scattered at Babel were carried away by confusion, Eber's family line maintained fidelity to the Creator Yahweh, becoming the channel through which the covenant promise would continue. Now the Lord said to Abram, from Abram you have Isaac, Jacob, the 12 sons of Israel, ultimately the Messiah, Yeshua, then the disciples, then the gospel being taken to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people, the world universally. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7. Now the Lord said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Also notice in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7. For what great nation is there that Yahweh so near to it? One more time. For what great nation is there that has Yahweh so near to it, as the Lord our God is near to us? Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 7. Eber's lineage anticipates this calling, a spiritual crossing over from Babel to Bethel, from confusion to communion. Peleg, division and dispersion, because Peleg means division. So division is a good thing when it is preserving the truth of Yahweh. The name Peleg means division. Hebrew Pelag, referring to the time when the earth was divided. Genesis chapter 10, verse 25. His birth marks a historical and prophetic turning point, the separation of peoples, languages, and nations after the judgment at Babel. Symbolically, Peleg represents Yahweh's sovereign hand, dividing light from darkness, truth from error, and covenant people from the nations. Notice in Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8, when the Most High divided their inheritance to the nations, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel. Thus, through division came preservation. Yahweh scattered them at Babel. He scattered the languages. They were confused. They separated. But through that separation, Yahweh has a preservation, as he called Abram, Abram, out of Ur, and made him Abraham. Abram means few, empty, nothing. Abraham means a father of nations. So just like Eber, the name means to cross over, Abram had to cross over out of the land of Ur, which was an idolatrous land, and he had to cross over and become Abraham. So once again, through division came preservation. Yahweh's way of protecting his truth in a world uniting in apostasy. Reu, the hidden generation. Reu is, the etymology of Reu is where we get our feminine name, Ruth, derived from, which means friend. Side note, Reu's name means friend or shepherd, indicating a quieter period in the covenant lineage between the chaos of Babel and the calling of Abram. Though little is written of him, his placement in the genealogy reminds us that Yahweh's work often continues silently between the great crisis of history. Even in times when divine activity seems hidden, God's plan for redemption never ceases. His promise moves from father to son, generation to generation, until it is revealed in Jesus. Psalm chapter 119, verse 90. Your faithfulness endures to all generations. You establish the earth, and it abides. So the prophetic parallels. The division of Peleg's day mirrors the final division to come at the end of time, those who will be divided by the mark of the beast and the seal of God. Just as the people of Babel were divided by language, so the last generation will be divided by worship. As it was in the beginning, it was 2 trees. In the end, it will be 2 days. In the beginning, it was the tree of life, or the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was God's word or the traditions of man. In the end, it's going to be the same way. It's going to be God's commandment, which says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath day of the Lord thy God. In it you shall do no work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and the fountains of water, and rested the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. The commandments of God, which Jesus also said, if you love me, keep my commandments, or the traditions of men. So it's always been those two, and that is what separates the division, the sheep from the goat. The division of Peleg in Peleg's day mirrors the final division to come in the end time, as we just discussed. Just as the people of Babel were divided by language, so the last generation will be divided by worship, between those who receive the seal of God and those who accept the mark of the beast. The faithful, like Eber and Peleg, will cross over into obedience to the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Jesus, just like Revelation 14:12 elaborates on. And the dragon was enraged with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her offspring, those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus. Once again, you see the division. The dragon is enraged because there are those who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus. The preservation of the faithful, the preservation of the remnant, just like you have with this story here, with the preservation of Noah, with his son Shem, with Arphaxad, with Salah, with Peleg. So the faithful, like Eber and Peleg, will cross over into obedience to the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. The genealogy of Eber, Peleg, and Reu reveals more than lifespans. It reveals God's unbroken covenant. Though the world was divided, his purpose was not. Every generation he preserves a people who cross over from the world's rebellion into his marvelous light. Like 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9 says, you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his chosen special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9. Even in times of confusion, the line of faith continues, and it leads directly to Abraham, the father of all who believe, and also directly to Jesus. If you believe in Jesus, you pass from unalivement into his life. Genesis chapter 11 verse 16 through 19, Exegesis.